In the dying days of the 19th century, Victorian England was no stranger to grim tales, but one case smashed the very idea of childhood innocence, leaving a stain on the public consciousness. This is the story of Robert Coombs and the Plaistow Horror. Robert Coombs was a seemingly ordinary 13-year-old boy from East London. Born in 1882, Robert's early life was marked by hardship. A difficult forceps birth left visible marks on his head. From the age of 3, he suffered terrible migraines, with doctors advising he should never be struck on the head, which was a chilling premonition perhaps. Moving between London and Liverpool, and with his father often away as a steward on a transatlantic steamer, young Robert found solace in the sensationalist penny dreadfuls of the time. He particularly enjoyed reading about the infamous Jack the Ripper. His parents, unknowingly, did not discourage this morbid curiosity. In 1894, at just 12 years old, Robert travelled alone to watch the trial of a murderer. Little did anyone know the darkness brewing within him. By July 1895, Robert and his younger brother Nathaniel were known as troublemakers. One day in that same month, their father, Robert Sr., left for work on Friday the 6th of July, leaving the boys with money for the household. Robert used a portion of the money to buy a kitchen knife, which he hid in the family home. On Sunday, July the 7th, something happened, one that ignited a terrible series of events. Emily Coombs, the boy's mother, beat Nathaniel severely enough that he expressed a desire to kill her. That night, under cover of darkness, Robert acted. At around 3:45 a.m, he attacked his mother, beating her around the head before plunging the newly purchased knife into her heart. For 10 long days, the two young brothers, just 13 and 12, managed to conceal their mother's murder. They even stole money from her purse, using it to pay rent and, incredibly, to watch their favourite cricket player, W.G. Grace, at Lord's Cricket Ground. They befriended their father's mentally challenged friend, John Fox, convincing him their mother was away and using him to pawn items from the house. Robert even concocted scams to obtain more money, approaching his father's employer and applying for loans. But their deception didn't last forever. Suspicious neighbours alerted the boy's aunt, who eventually forced her way into the house. Behind a locked bedroom door, she discovered the horrifying truth: Emily Coombs' decomposed body. The bloody knife was found beside the body, along with Robert's blood-stained shirt. A letter written by Robert, filled with a fabricated story of his mother's accidental death, further sealed his fate. Robert and John Fox were arrested at the scene, while Nathaniel was quickly apprehended after attempting to flee. During his time on remand in Holloway Prison, Robert told the medical officer, George Edward Walker, that he had heard voices telling him to kill his mother and that the impulses were irresistible. Walker believed Robert was mentally ill. The trial at the Old Bailey focused on Robert's mental state. Was he criminally insane or simply evil? Despite evidence of his headaches, the family doctor offered no support for an insanity plea. Court ultimately decided that Robert was, and I quote, a homicidal maniac with lucid periods and under the influence of pernicious literature. Too young to hang, Robert was instead found guilty and sentenced to an indefinite stay at Broadmoor Hospital for the criminally insane, becoming their youngest ever inmate. Nathaniel and John Fox were found not guilty. But Robert's story doesn't end here. He served 17 years before being released in 1912 at the age of 30, after which he emigrated to Australia to join his brother. Robert enlisted in the army at the outbreak of the First World War. Serving as a stretcher bearer, he was present on the battlefield during the brutal Gallipoli campaign. Whilst his unit was under constant and withering enemy fire, Robert dashed into the fury of war time and time again to bring wounded comrades back to friendly lines. Robert was awarded the Military Medal for his continued and relentless acts of retrieving wounded colleagues. After the war, he became a music teacher and farmer, eventually opening his own market garden. He died in 1949 at the age of 67, leaving his estate to his adopted son. Remarkably, there is no record of him ever reoffending. So was Robert Coombs truly bad to the bone? His childhood actions were undeniably monstrous, but his later life paints a drastically different picture, Did the confines of Broadmoor somehow offer a path to redemption, or did the horrors of war forge a new man from the boy who committed the Plaistow Horror? The answer, perhaps, remains lost to the annals of history.